Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Can you hear me well? Okay, thank you for joining us. It's lovely to see you all back at Connected TV World Summit this year. I'm joined, I'll introduce myself first. My name is Ahmed, I'm that guy. I'm a chief reporter at VideoNet, and I'm joined by Russ Armstrong, who's COO of Shorts TV. Just to give a little introduction to Russ, he worked with Arqiva in providing capacity to UK broadcasters for their new digital channels on Freeview. He also sat on the Freeview board and was at the center of planning the digital switchover. He also sat on the board of YouView and worked as the COO of an OTT TV business, developing the platform and VOD services for multi-device, multi-territory clients. And for the last 2 years, he's been working at Shorts TV as they've launched Amazon Prime Video channels in India and across Europe. So without further ado, thank you so much for joining us, Russ.
Thank you.
Just to kind of introduce Shorts TV a little bit, I wondered if you could tell me a little bit about what Shorts TV is, what it does.
Sure. Shorts TV's been running for just on 20 years. We provide short movies, the clue's in the name. It's Shorts TV, it's a short movie channel, and we operate in 4 continents. So we have a linear channel in the US, in Latin America, in India, and right across Europe. Excuse me, sorry. So it's, we provide these linear channels, and in the last 2 years, since I've joined the business actually, we've been trying to broaden our exposure and make our content more available through a relationship with Amazon Prime channels. So we've launched in Europe and India and are shortly to launch in the US. And also we have 3 fast channels across Europe, and again are looking to deliver fast channels in the US as well. And last but not least, we have our mobile app, Shorts TV Plus, which gives you thousands of short movies in your pocket.
Yeah, I think you also mentioned to me in one of our discussions that you produce and distribute the annual Oscar-nominated short film theatrical releases. Could you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, sure. For the last 16 years, so it's been going on for quite some time. Key event with the Oscars in the US market, we take all of the nominees and produce shows that were released in cinemas across the US during and prior to the Oscar ceremony. So we distribute all of that. It's a massive promotional opportunity for those films that are there, and it's quite always a bit of a scrabble to, once they're announced, to actually get all of the content ready and packaged together so that we can distribute it to the cinemas as fast as possible. And they're typically in the cinemas between 4 and 5 weeks before the Oscar ceremony. So people get out there and watch it. It's a big thing over there.
Fantastic. So if anybody's looking for any free Oscars tickets, I'm sure you can find Russ afterwards. So just quickly for our audience, if you can maybe provide a definition of what constitutes a short movie. I'm sure most of them are already film buffs, but it'd be good to...
Well, sure. For Oscars and BAFTAs and the awards academies, they have a definition of a short movie being less than 40 minutes. We have some movies, some of our really strong movies are 8-10 minutes long. So, you know, it probably takes you as long to watch that as it does to find what you want to watch on Netflix. But the median for most of our content is between 15 and 20 minutes. And these are full, high production, full story, start, middle and end, people actually running real sort of, I guess, little stories, vignettes across what we do. We do cover all genres, so in the awards categories for short movies, certainly for Oscars, there is live action, animation and documentaries. So there's a broad church in terms of content that we actually cover in that definition. I mean, shorts are very much a learning sort of curve for young and up-and-coming directors and producers. It's very important for them to get this leg up, and the whole theatrical release, certainly in the US, is absolutely massive for these guys in terms of promotion early on in their career. There's nothing else quite like it for them. So if you do get nominated and actually get on into our promotional environment and into that whole bandwagon, red carpet, the lot, it's quite massive for them.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of piggybacking off that, like you said, it can be a massive opportunity for many of these content producers, these directors, actors. So could you perhaps tell me a little bit about your relationship with these content producers?
Sure. I mean, we work very much with festivals and schools. So the NFTS here in London, and well, actually in Beaconsfield, and the Dutch Film Academy, right across Europe and in Latin America, we have some big relationships with the schools. So that as the students who are studying film studies, they'll actually be working with us. We're sponsoring some events or awards for those guys. So we have a strong relationship with all of the film schools to actually deliver and develop a product. And festivals. So again, it's not just the Oscars that have short films. There are short film categories in many, many festivals across the globe. So we'll work with Bangalore in India, Cine Labu in Latin America, and we have, I guess we've always needed to work with these guys because they've been a source of our content. But during lockdown and the sort of the pandemic, we've had a much closer relationship where we actually ran their festivals for them on our channels in territory, and that's kind of cemented a really strong relationship between us and the whole festival communities across the globe.
Mm-hmm. So something I think I was curious about before kind of our initial discussions is what the market looks like essentially for short entertainment content. What does it look like right now, and how do you imagine it to be evolving? In what direction?
Okay, that's a tricky question. I think lots of people are consuming content. People are time poor. There's been, I think, if you look at movies particularly, they seem to be getting longer and longer. Bigger commitment to actually sit down and watch them. One of the things that we're looking at with our sort of refreshing our presentation on screen is to let people know how long, in particular, the next upcoming movie is going to be. So you can make a decision whether you want to make that investment to watch an 8 or a 15-minute movie rather than saying, okay, it's 2.5, 3 hours, I've got to sit down and enjoy or endure, whatever. So I think that there's two things, and looking at it as it lends itself to mobile consumption. So with our Shorts TV Plus app, it's the sort of thing that I watch most of our content on the train as I'm commuting. But it's certainly great when you're having coffee or whatever to be able to sit down and say, I want to watch something that is a quality, entertaining, and engaging proposition from a content perspective. So, a 15-minute movie while you're having your coffee is really good. And it's not the sort of content that you can typically just skip by. You need to focus on it. So if you want to get away from everything, it's great for that.
Yeah. I mean, I know personally, I'm a big fan of short films. We spoke about this. I like watching, something short while I'm eating, and at the same time I want to feel cultured enough that I'm not just watching a YouTube video. So yeah, they're very entertaining, very engaging. So in terms of how short entertainment content is packaged,
Right.
What does that look like? How's it packaged? What do your products look like packaged? And what kind of viewing experiences do those kind of different packages lend themselves to?
So clearly, I think on demand, it's great. You've got a big array. We've got large catalogue. We have to acquire a lot of content. But on demand, it's nice and easy. You can actually see how long each title is going to be. You can make those decisions on a sort of Netflix-like layout. For linear, we package our films into 1-hour blocks. That helps us signpost audience to actually come and consume the content in the right way, and people know what they're going to get when they arrive. That could be a theme around a particular actor. So you've got 3 or 4 movies from a particular actor. It could be radically different. Or it could be something that's, you know, horror or comedy. So these will be hours where we can actually signpost these in our linear schedules and say, this is what you're going to get when you turn up at 8 o'clock or midnight, depending on what you're choosing. And that's you know, important from a perspective of keeping the engagement, which for an ad-funded channels for both FAST and our ad-funded linear channels, this is really important. To actually keep people engaged and across the junctions, if you like, between our films, it's important that there is some sort of narrative across that. So that is really important in terms of programming and scheduling and the curation of the titles that we bring together and package in that way. For VOD, it's a lot simpler. Things are sort of laid out in a flat file, so you can actually pick and choose. There, it's all about the images that you're actually putting on the platform that really determine what's happening.
Okay, excellent. And I suppose advertising, if you can maybe speak into that a bit, in terms of what it looks like in this context.
You know, for us, one of the things we don't really do AVOD. So for advertising, it's all about linear for us. We don't, because of the length of our content, we don't put any ad markers or any breaks within any of our films. So once you press play at the start, you'll see the whole thing. And you know, again, that's to some degree why we package it up this way, so that we can bring people across the junctions and monetize the content that way. So for AVOD, it's not something that we're contemplating. It doesn't really work for us or the platforms particularly. But for linear, and for FAST, it's absolutely key that we make sure we're driving the right eyeballs to arrive at the right time and keeping them engaged. So that's the real trick, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. I think something I think I'd like you to speak on is you know, whether you think obviously, like you said, because it lends itself to a very different viewing experience. It's quite short. You don't feel as invested in, you know, having to watch an hour-long episode of a series or a feature-length film, which is an hour and a half or more. It's just a quick kind of bite-sized burst of story and narrative and plot. What I'm interested in is do you think, because of that, it can kind of provide a way to keep viewers onto the platform of TV when, you know, they might otherwise, you know, want to log off because, you know, they're not as kind of invested in spending more time watching something?
I think that's a difficult one to answer. I mean, if you were looking at a traditional schedule and you were popping in some short things, that might help to keep people engaged, particularly if they can look ahead and see how long the particular title is going to be. All of our material is short films. We don't particularly have many series, so it is about our packaging really and scheduling that will actually keep people on the channel. So I'm not convinced from a linear perspective that it would make a difference per se to have short content in there. I think it is about making sure that you've got engaging programming in order to really keep people engaged on the product.
Fantastic. I think obviously we are approaching the end of this discussion. I think it's been really interesting. I think we have a time to take a couple questions. If anybody in the audience, has anybody in the audience got any questions?
That's good.
No? Yeah.
Hi, Russ. This is Parul. Where do you see Shorts TV in 5 years' time?
Where do I see? Well, I hope that we succeed in the Shorts TV marketplace. I genuinely think, I have to say personally, I've been majorly impressed by the quality of our catalogue. And I would like to see more people engaged in short movies. So I think the drives that we're looking at is to reach out to a younger demographic, right? And actually show them that with still a small investment in time, they can actually watch real quality content. The short movie community, the short movie files, are an eclectic mix of people. You would not be able to pick them out and actually identify them specifically as a small cohort. And I just, kind of want more people to do it. So that's why we're increasing the number of products and services that we've got out there, to some degree, to see which are the best ones for each different audience. 50 inches, lean back, great. It's great for, I guess, people watching and consuming. I don't think you sit there and watch hours and hours of short movies. So for me, I think the mobile side of things, actually having the ability to have all those films in your pocket, is probably where I would say we will see the biggest growth.
And I think that's all the time we have today, unfortunately. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you're sticking around, I'm sure people can approach you in the break or on lunch. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.